Well, this is a lesson on walking meditation. When you do an intensive retreat in the Vipassana tradition, at least as it's usually taught, you alternate between sitting practice and walking practice. And this has the virtue of sparing your body a fair amount of pain, because doing nothing but sitting can become truly excruciating. But the walking is actually more than just a relief from the sitting practice. It is, in fact, as deep a practice as sitting is in its own right. But it can take a long time to discover that. In fact, I don't think I truly understood that walking meditation was just as good as sitting meditation until my first 10-day silent retreat. And it was probably 5 or 6 days into that retreat before I fully connected with walking meditation. So just be aware of the fact that it is not always immediately obvious that walking can be just as good a context for meditative concentration and insight, but it can be. And there are two general ways of doing walking meditation. One is super slow, where you're using the sensation of walking very much like the breath. So you're tending to the feeling of making contact with the ground. And each movement of your feet and legs is analogous to the movement you feel while focusing on the breath. Right? So this walking can be super slow. It could take you a few minutes to cross from one end of your room to the other. And then there's walking meditation that can be done at normal speed. Right? You can actually just be walking on the sidewalk in public, and unbeknownst to anyone around you, you are practicing. So rather than guide you in each of these, I'm going to introduce the concepts and you can practice on your own. I may add some actual guided walking meditations later, but it seems best to actually give you the concept here and you can just try it. So for slow walking, again, just pay exquisitely close attention to the sensation of lifting and moving and placing your foot. And you want to cover those movements in the same way that you cover the inhalation and exhalation of the breath. Right? Just let awareness track everything and use those sensations as a primary object of awareness. Then, of course, you can notice your visual field and sounds and other sensations in your body. And if you're inside and not in danger of bumping into anything, you can actually do the practice with your eyes closed, right? So you can really zero in on the raw sensations of moving. For regular walking, usually done outside, you can have a general sense of your body moving through space. You can feel your arm swing. You can feel the air on your skin. You can feel the cloud of sensations that represents all the inputs from your body as you move, right? Rather than focusing on anything narrowly. But I find, certainly while walking in public, that it can be far more interesting to pay most attention to the visual field, to seeing the world coming toward you, right? To see other people on the sidewalk coming toward you. And conversely, to feel yourself moving forward through space. And there's this fluctuation between seeing yourself as moving through a static world or seeing the world rushing toward you like the image you see through the windshield of a car while you're driving. You're just sitting there and the world is rushing in. And you can alternate between those two perspectives. And it's at the center of that transition where this feeling of being a locus of consciousness can be looked for, right? As you move through space and you see trees and houses and other objects moving toward you, what are they moving toward? Right? Look for yourself while gazing into your visual field. Everything is pointing back to where you presume yourself to be. Right? Walk forward while looking for the center of consciousness. This can be especially vivid when other people are walking toward you, when you're passing people on the sidewalk. Right? What are they walking toward? Look for yourself. Anyway, experiment with this. Walking can be every bit as profound and expansive as sitting. It's the same mechanism of mindfulness that you're invoking, and being lost in thought is really the only obstacle. And unlike sitting with your eyes closed, this is a practice that can be done in public without anyone knowing that you're practicing.